You're listening to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of ABK Media Group, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County every day at 9 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another edition of Good Morning Gwinnett. I'm your girl, Audrey Bell Kearney, giving you the daily rundown this morning. So it's a beautiful day here in Gwinnett County, just a little bit rainy, overcast, but listen, nonetheless, it is a nice day. So I'm happy to be here with you this morning. I got a great guest with me this morning. She's running for district attorney for Gwinnett County, so I'm excited about that. But before I do that, you know what I got to do? I got to play the horoscopes. You know what it is. Got to get you the horoscopes. Got to let you find out what's going on. And so our horoscopes is brought to you by noted astrologer Michael Thyssen. Today is Halloween, October the 31st. Go out there and get you some candy. But before you go, let's find out what's going on the stars. So we're going to get, because I got a good interview. So I don't want to wait. I want to just jump on in and get it going. So let's get it going. Aries, be careful while traveling. You will have the stamina and the know-how to raise your earning power. You won't get the reaction you want from your mate. Listen, you're going to have some stamina to travel and all that good stuff, but don't expect some kind of special reaction from your mate. I'm just saying. Taurus, arguments with employers or colleagues will be to your detriment. Your ability to get the job done will result in added responsibility and possible promotions. Okay, that sounds good now. You will be entertained and intrigued by logic foreigners possess. Sounds interesting. Gemini, you can get the attention of important individuals, but it might not be the time to get them to help you or back your ideas. So watch out what you ask for. Travel for business will not only bring you valuable information, but also profits as well. Profits are always good. That is always a good thing. Travel opportunities must be taken advantage of. Listen, don't let an opportunity to travel slip through your hands today, Gemini. Go ahead, make that move. Cancer, involvement with prestigious organizations will be to your advantage. Be prudent and don't be led down the garden path. Okay, listen, don't let anybody lead you down the wrong path today. Watch out, because they're trying to lead you. Minor accidents could occur if you don't take precautions. Leo, you can persuade even the toughest opponents to think your way. Think about starting your own small business. Throw yourself into your profession. Now, y'all know how I feel about business. I'm going to tell everybody, start a business, start a side hustle, do something different. All right, Virgo. Don't press your luck with your loved ones. Don't blame everything on your mate. Focus on forming business partnerships. Listen, it's all about collaboration this time. All right, I'm going to go to a song. I'll be right back after this song to bring you more of the horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Michael Thyssen. You're listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. I'm your host, Audrey Bell Kearney. Stay tuned.
We're getting ready, getting ready at the dance floor. So turn the lights on. You know just what we're here for. We're moving like a wolf pack. Feel the bass attack. Feelings growing strong. So turn the lights on. You know just what we're here for. Let's lose control. We don't care what they say. We're already on our way. That's how we roll. Shake us out, how we sway. We will take it all the world. Let's go and hit the dance floor. Yeah, let's go and hit the dance floor. Let's go and hit the dance floor. Yeah, let's go and hit the dance floor. Popping bottles, you know just how we do it. Yeah, we go crazy. Just look at us, how we lose it. We're moving like a wolf pack. Feel the bass attack. Feelings growing strong. Yeah, we go crazy. Just look at us, how we lose it. Check us out, we sway where we're taking all the world. Let's go and hit the dance floor. Yeah, let's go and hit the dance floor. Let's go and hit the dance floor. Yeah, yeah, let's go and hit the dance floor.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. It's your girl, Audrey Bell Kearney, giving you the daily horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thias. We're going to pick it up with Libra. Libra, don't let others saddle you with guilt that isn't warranted. Money may slip through your fingers. You could expand your circle of friends if you get involved in unusual activities. I don't know what that means, but it's Halloween, so just be careful. I don't know what that means. Scorpio, you can make new connections through friends or relatives. Avoid purchasing expensive items. Plan your social events carefully. Listen, watch the coins today, Scorpio. If it's too expensive, don't get it. Sagittarius, take to an older family member you have helped in the past. Your partner will be emotionally unable to cope. One of your female friends may try to disrupt your day. Stand up for your rights and watch out for the chick that's trying to mess you up today. It's Halloween. Everything goes today. Capricorn, underhandedness regarding legal matters or contracts must be counteracted. Be sure not to burn any bridges. Home improvement projects will go well if you delegate work to all your family members, not just you. Everybody got to get involved. Everybody. Aquarius, you should not get involved in joint ventures. Let your boss know your goals. Delays are evident. Listen, no joint ventures for you today. It's a bad thing for you. And Pisces, my fellow fish, yeah, try not to lend money or borrow money today. I'm not doing either. I don't know about you, fish, but I'm not doing any of those today. Think twice before you say something you might regret later. That's us. Watch your tongue. Watch the tongue. Don't let any small misunderstandings get in your way. So, fish, I don't know about you, but I'm not lending no money today. I'm going to think twice about the things I say. I'm not going to let anything stand in my way. So, that's our horoscopes brought to you by the noted astrologer Micah Thias. I'll be back on Monday to bring you more of the horoscopes. But right now, I got a special guest. So, my guest is Miss Patty Austin Gaston. She has been an attorney for over 30 years. She is running for the district attorney position here in Gwinnett County. Good morning, Patty. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Good morning. I'm glad you have me here with you today.
So Patty has taken a seat at the table. You know, this is the seat at the table Thursday when I have a guest. So she is the seat at the table today. It's kind of like the hot seat, but it's not really a hot seat. I'm pretty cool. You know, people have said, "Oh, she's a great person." So I'm pretty cool. I don't go too hard. So
I'm glad you said seat at the table because that just reminds me of Shirley Chisholm. I got to meet her when I was in Syracuse University in college, and I just remember her saying, if they don't give you a seat at the table, pull up a lawn chair.
All right now. That's some good advice right there. If they don't give you a seat at the table, pull up a lawn chair. I like that. Well, you have a seat at my table today, and
Thank you so
glad.
much.
I'm so glad you're here. Patty and I have met each other twice so far. She was on a panel that I moderated a couple of months ago,
yes.
And thanks to her husband, who's on her team, he has helped me make this interview possible because she is a busy woman here in Gwinnett doing some amazing things. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, I grew up in New York via North Carolina and was born there. Before I started kindergarten, my mother moved myself and my other sister up to New York City. She had to leave there because my grandma was scared of her mouth in the South. So I kind of have adapted some of that from her, but I think mine is a little more reserved in that I try to really think about what I say before I say it. But there comes a time when you just got to lay it down.
Well, I have quite a few attorney friends, and I know that you have to be able to move that mouth to get things done.
Yes.
I have one friend, I've been in meetings with her. We were in a foreign country, and we're in a meeting with the government, and I'm sitting there, and she's saying stuff, and I'm saying to myself, I know she just made that up because because she thinks so quick.
Yes.
But it was so powerful. So you have to be able to enunciate and say all the things you need to say and think quick on your feet to be an attorney. So where did you grow up in New York?
I grew up in Far Rockaway, Queens.
All
that
right.
was on the beach side. So we got to see the ocean pretty much every single day. And I kind of miss all of the water, but with climate change, I'm glad I'm in Atlanta, which is landlocked.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I was born here, but I grew up in Jersey, and I used to go to Atlantic City all the time. I was an Atlantic City junkie. Not no more though, because it's not the same because of the storms. Because of the storm, it pretty much destroyed the coastline down there, and so it's not the same anymore. I was there last summer, and I was so hurt because I was like, yeah, we're going to go to Atlantic City because I go to Jersey all the time, but it wasn't the same. So now you've been an attorney for over 30 years.
Correct.
And you've served on some the state level and the federal level.
Yes.
How has that been for you?
Well, basically, it's been a great ride, and I'm just thankful. After graduating from Emory University School of Law, I was able to get my first job with the Attorney General's Office of Georgia. And I got a lot of great experience at that time. I was able to do an argument in front of the Supreme Court. And for a first-year graduate, that really doesn't happen. So I was thankful for that experience. And I got to meet Justice Benham, and now he's getting ready to retire this year. But I'm just thankful for the people that God has allowed to be placed in my life, and I learned a lot from them. So, and basically, my experience has been in federal court with the AG's office, and I did a federal jury trial, and that doesn't happen a whole lot either. So I'm just grateful for my experiences. I was able to work for an attorney, Harold Alexander. I was his first associate, so I kind of got the files just handed to me, and I had to do the work. And that's really where you really get your training, is when you get in there and you have to do it. So that's where I was at with his practice. And then I went out on my own practice for several years. I used to tell some of my clients, if it's something I hadn't done before, I said, okay, I'm going to cut your rate and I'm going to learn this, but I will learn it well, and we're going to get to where we need to go. So that was my whole motto. If I'm doing something for the first time, I'm going to learn it, but I'm going to also let my client know this is something I'm doing for the first time, so bear with me. We're in this together. And I've had clients call me things like a bulldog and things of that nature. It was good.
That's a good thing. That means you fight for the client.
Exactly. So it's been a good ride. It's really been a good ride, and I'm thankful. And now I'm asking the citizens of Gwinnett County to vote for me to become their next district attorney. And I will bring the same hard work and diligence to that role. We're due for a change because we have to look at the criminal justice system as something different at this point. It's not just prosecuting and locking people in jail. That does not work. And we are seeing it now as far as taxing. That is costing so much money in our system when we could be directing those funds to education and things that are going to keep people out of jail. And that is one of my platform pieces, is to work well with the different parts of the community to get with them and establish a way that our kids are not becoming statistics.
So let me ask you this, because I was going to get to this a little later, but you jumped right in there. That's the attorney. Like, I didn't get to my next question yet. But so the person who's hold that seat now is Danny Porter. He's been there since 1992.
27 years.
27 years. So one might say that, he's doing a decent job to hold a seat for so long. So what do you see some of the issues now from where you are, that because he's been there a long time, what are some of the issues that you feel like he has not addressed that needs to be addressed moving into the new 21st century? Because that's a long time.
Exactly. I think basically it's been he's had a deft-toneness to what needs to happen.
And what is that?
And that is reformative justice has got to be looked at from all different angles.
Can you explain that to my listener, what reformative justice is?
What that means is that jail sentencing is not always an automatic go-to. You do things, you have accountability courts and mentorship and things of that nature. I have just taken some classes with PAC and we're talking about children going into gangs. I'm talking about 10 and 11-year-old children. We can't have that. We cannot accept that. We have to disturb that pattern. And as your district attorney, I will work with the community to disturb that pattern. We cannot sit back and say it's okay and lock the children up. No, we have to get in there before these kids are brought into the system. I was talking to Sherry Boston. She's the DA for DeKalb County, and I asked her that question. What are we going to do about the situation with 10 and 11-year-old children going into gangs? And her response had to do with the fact that these gangs provide things for these children as a society that we need to provide. Of course, the first fall safe is their parents, but if their parents are not able to provide what these children need, as a society and a community of people, we have to be there to do that. So I'm looking at how we would provide wraparound services for families that are in need so that their children do not become stats.
Now, what is a wraparound service?
Well, I am talking about something like where the family needs are assessed and addressed. And that means from everything, including food, security, housing, the whole 9 yards. I know as a DA that's not specifically my job, but if it means keeping our community safe and doing things to aid our community, I'm there. I will be working with the community. I will be establishing a task force, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of great organizations out here that are doing a lot of good things, but we need to get those agencies, what they do, multiplied. And we need to let people know where the resources are so that we can save our children.
You know, it's so funny. I'm listening to you talk. I have two brothers. One that's, both of them are younger than I am. One grew up in Newark and one grew up in San Diego with my dad. The one that grew up in Newark with me, he frequented the boys club, Boys and Girls Club. He's a football coach. He's put a bunch of boys in college, on scholarships. My baby brother grew up in San Diego with both parents. So my brother and I grew up in a single parent home in Newark.
Yes.
Right? My baby brother grew up in San Diego with both parents, and he got into a gang.
Oh,
and I said to him, and he went to prison because he shot somebody.
Right.
But he when you talk to him, you can tell he's not gang material.
Right.
And I said to him, I don't understand. Help me understand how that happened. He said, nobody was there for me. So he had two brothers and sisters out there with him. They were older.
Yeah.
He had his mom and his dad.
Right.
And he had a great home. Didn't want for anything. He said, they just bought me stuff.
Wow.
You know, and so when you listen to a story like that, where it's not that they're missing anything except for that attention, you know, it's not just a kid who has a single mother and the mother has to work 3 jobs. It's this other kid that has everything, but doesn't have the love and attention that he needs or she needs.
Right.
So, and my mom worked at the juvie center in Newark, and she would tell me the girls are worse than the boys. She would say that all the time, and I would say, "What do you mean?" She'd say, "The girls are just so rough. Like she could get through to the boys, she couldn't get through to the girls."
Right.
So when you think about a boys and girls club. And I don't think I've seen one in Gwinnett. Are there some in Gwinnett County?
Yes, there are Boys and Girls Clubs in Gwinnett County, and that would be one of the type of agencies I'd be reaching out to work with, because we do have to multiply what they do so that kids don't get caught up. And there is an issue with middle-class children getting caught up in situations that they know they don't need to be at. I've raised 2 boys now. One was a bigger challenge, and I love him to death, but we had to go through some serious issues, making sure that he stayed on the straight and narrow, and just impressing different things upon him. You just have to try different things with different kids. And like you said, the attention, they have to feel as if they're getting the attention that they need also. It's important.
It is important, and if you talk to my brother now, he's very soft. He sounds just like my dad, which is so weird, because when he talks, it's like listen to my dad talk.
Yeah.
And he's very soft-spoken, so you would never think that he would be in a gang. But not only was he in a gang, he shot somebody.
Right.
He didn't kill him, and
Thank God for that.
Thank God for that. And he did 5 years, and he talks. He's a writer. He had a scholarship to play baseball.
Wow.
What black kids get a scholarship to play baseball?
Right.
So he was very smart. So you don't think about that kid, because you think that all the kids that get involved with gangs are the kids that have it really rough in the hood and things like that. He didn't grow up in the hood. He grew up in sunny San Diego, you know, with 2 parents.
Right, and I think just letting kids know that they are valued.
Yes.
We don't have an opportunity to have throwaway kids. All our kids are valuable.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see one left. And even the ones that get caught up in it, one of my other platforms would be dealing with recidivism and making sure that when people come out that they have resources and things that they need in order not to go back to prison. I met recently with the Department of Corrections, and they have a welding program where they just graduated their first class. And those things we have to multiply. And we need a transition center also in Gwinnett County that will help people coming out of the prison system, that ones that are coming out, like, let's say, a year ahead of time, 15 months ahead of time, need to go into transition, get training, get acclimated back to the community, so when they come out, they can be productive members of our community and not go back to prison.
You know, I talked about the welding program when that first group graduated on the show in one of the episodes, and I also went through the Gwinnett Citizens Academy 101.
Yes.
And when we were over at the corrections facility talking to one of the leaders there, he was talking about the program and how successful it has been so far. But what he didn't say was that they had an entrepreneurship program, and I'm like, hey, where's the entrepreneurship program? Because to me, if they have nothing but time, they can learn e-commerce business while they're in there. So I feel like that there should be programs like that put in place while they're inside with just time. Because one of the things as an entrepreneur is that outside we don't have enough time, but they have time. So do you think you'll be able to put something like that in place for those guys as well?
That sounds like a great idea. I think we should focus on that because the job situation everywhere in our country is constantly changing. So if someone's able to come up with a business model, a business format that they could put into action once they're out, how wonderful would that be? Because we don't have any talent to waste.
You know, it was so funny because I was reading probably a couple of weeks ago, they were talking about the expungement now is not going to be called expungement. It's going to be
record
called
restriction.
Record restriction.
Yes.
Here's my question about that. If it's record restriction and an employer can still go and pull that record, what's the use?
Well, basically, that's not exactly how it works. You can do record restriction, you can do first offender, you can do all of those great things, but if the case is not sealed in the clerk's office and prevent it from going out to just third parties, then that's going to continue to be a problem. You have to take that extra step. We just did a record restriction event in Gwinnett County, the first one October 19th of this year. And what we will do is go back, if a person is eligible, and that's another whole topic that our legislators need to get on top of. It's very restrictive how someone's criminal record can be dealt with in Georgia. Georgia is so far behind on how to deal with these types of things that it's almost sinful. I have to just put it blankly like that.
So when you say, tell us about that, elaborate on that a little bit for us.
Well, basically, the number of people that are incarcerated, on probation or parole in the state of Georgia is such a high percentage. I believe it's 1 in 4 adults have situations where they're involved with the criminal justice system. And basically, when we did the record restriction summit, I had a woman that drove in from South Carolina, and she was in tears because she said a Gwinnett record is preventing her from working. And do we want that for our society? Or do we want people to be able to be productive and to work? So I think we have to call out the legislators. We have to vote the right people in to make the change. And that's why it's so important for people to vote. Find out what the platforms are that they're standing on. Of course, people that commit crimes have to be held accountable.
Right.
But they're going to eventually come back into society. And what are we saying to people if they come back out and they can't get a job? Okay, so we may need to look at legislation that expunges your record after a certain amount of years. If you've been clean, if you've been towing the line, if you've been obeying the law, you've been productive, you've been taking care of your responsibilities, why should you continue to carry a 10-year record that prevents you from getting an apartment, a job, and moving up in society? Let's stop that. Let's hold our electeds accountable, and let's do what's right for people.
Right. And so, it makes sense, right?
Yes.
But why is that such a problem? Why is it so hard to understand for a lot of people? Because if a person can go 10 years without having an incident, why is that so hard for the legislator to say, you know what, let's give this person a second chance?
Exactly. And there is a movement going forward now, and it's called that second chance. So it's time for us to get behind that, work with the legislators, write them, talk to them, and let's change the law.
And how? So I want to go back for a second because I read something last week or week before last. There are 22,000
Yes.
people coming off the voter roll.
Yes.
What you got to say something to them, because I feel like, and that's because they haven't voted in such a long time. I heard.
Well, and we also heard in the meeting recently at the Democratic chat and coffee. There was a lady there that said she's voted in every election.
Really?
And she keeps getting notices to ask her to clarify what her voting record is and where she lives and things of that nature. So we have to look at that too. It's not just as cut and dry that people aren't voting. Some people that are voting are being knocked off the rolls. And I think it would behoove everyone just to check with the Secretary of State and make sure that your credentials are in there, so when you go to vote, you don't have a problem. And the other thing is vote early. So if there is a problem, it can be corrected. Every vote is important.
Yeah, when I went to I forgot what the election was. It was during this summer. I forgot what it was, but it was a young lady there. She was pregnant. And she was way out there, too. And so she had been over to Winder, which is where she was supposed to vote. They told her she wasn't supposed to vote there, so they sent over to Cornerstone, which is in Lawrenceville on the other side. It's like 30 minutes away. When she got there, she wasn't supposed to vote there. She's like, I'm going home. I'm just not going to vote.
Oh, my gosh.
And I had to stop her. It's like, listen, that's what they want. They want you to get frustrated and not vote.
Exactly.
So I know you're tired. I know you want to go eat and lay down. I know you're pregnant, but you have to go back and vote.
It's like John Lewis says, people have really suffered and died for us to have the ability just to vote. A couple of years ago, my husband and I did a mission trip in Peru, and we happened to be there on the day that country voted. Everything was shut down.
Wow.
Even churches. People were not allowed to do anything except vote.
Wow.
And if they didn't go vote, they were going to receive a fine of $50, and that's a poor country, and basically that would break a lot of people's budgets in that country to have to pay $50 because they didn't go vote. And then the other element of that, which is why we should be grateful, we live in a country where we can talk about politics. They were not allowed to talk about politics, but they were required to go vote. So what does that say?
Wow. And not only were you get fined, did you hear that? You get fined if you don't vote, which is huge. So listen, we're going to go to a song. I'll be right back to this next song to bring you more. Miss Patty Austin Gaston talking about what she's going to do when she becomes a district attorney for Gwinnett County.
Thank you. I received that.
All right now. All right.
I never should have kissed you. Never should have gone there, but I couldn't resist you. Never felt like that girl, I swear. I probably should run, girl. Try to make this all undone, girl. I never should have kissed you. I never should have gone there. I know that this is problem, and I know that it would kill me. Kill me, but I can't resist. I'm falling, and I know that this will burn me, burn me, 'cause I'm playing with. Yeah, I'm playing with. Yeah, I realize that I will never learn, and I realize that I probably get burned, 'cause I'm playing with. Yeah, I'm playing with. Don't know why I do problem, and I know that it would kill me. Kill me, but I can't resist. I'm falling, falling, and I know that this will burn me, burn me, 'cause I'm playing with. Yeah, I'm playing with. Yeah, I realize that I will never learn, and I realize that I probably get burned, 'cause I'm playing with. Yeah, I'm playing with. Yeah, I realize that I will never learn, and I realize that I probably get burned. Playing with fire, playing with fire, and I realize that I will never learn, and I realize that I probably get burned, 'cause I'm playing with. Yeah, I'm playing with. Yeah, I realize that I will never learn, and I realize that I probably get burned, 'cause I'm playing with. Yes, I'm playing with. Yeah, I'm playing with. Yeah, I realize that I will never learn, and I realize that I probably get burned.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. I'm here today at the table with Miss Patsy Austin Gaston. She is running for District Attorney of Gwinnett County, and she has decided to join me at the table today. So we're gonna continue this interview because it's a good interview. I was sitting here thinking, so for those of you who don't know, so Patsy is married to Chief Gaston. Right.
Yes.
So and I just looked at his jacket. He's in the studio with us right now. So, but what was interesting about what we talked about a few minutes ago, you said I have two sons. One of them was a little bit challenging,
Yes.
and so he has two big wigs in his family, and he has some challenges. So you can kind of see how kids can kind of get lost, even though they have like. My dad worked for law enforcement. My mom was in law enforcement. Like that could easily happen, but.
Yes.
I want you to speak to, kind of tell people what the district attorney office is responsible for. Because when I think about it, I think about scandal and, trying cases, right?
Yes.
So, because that's what most of us see. We look at NCIS and CSI Miami, and we just think trying cases. Tell us what that office is actually responsible for.
Well, the office is responsible for the prosecution of felony cases, and that can run the whole gamut. But I do feel that the office is a powerful position and that systemic changes can be made there. And that would be my whole impetus, is to get in that office and make changes that makes our community safer, that enhances the quality of life for everyone in our community, and that remembers that it's not just about throwing people in jail. It's about making a change and gearing people away from jail. I'll give an example. When you think about the crack crisis that our country dealt with, and now the opioid crisis that we're dealing with, if you look at how those different crises have been handled, the crack crisis was throw them in jail, throw them in jail, throw them in jail. You got people serving time right now because they happen to have a drug addiction. Whereas now, the whole vent toward the opioid crisis is to get these people treatment. There should be drug treatment for drug addicts. Because you are a drug addict doesn't mean you should go to jail. To me, it means you need to be in treatment.
Unless you commit a crime.
Yeah, that's of course, if there's a violent crime that's committed, that needs to be dealt with, and people need to be held accountable. But you also have people going to jail for nonviolent crimes, and I know that there's a place for that also, but I think it needs to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. If a person does not have a criminal record and they veered off, and you see this as not being a pattern, I think we need to even give those people a second chance and not just lock people down.
So, Patty, what do you think? I mean, Patsy, what do you say to the people when people are repeatedly doing things? Let's say they're minor crimes, right?
Yes.
But they're doing it because they're addicted to drugs,
Yes.
and they keep doing it, and they keep doing it, and they keep doing it, and they won't accept the help. Like if the help is even there, and they won't accept it, what do we do with those people?
That is a very serious problem. Because, like they say, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. We have to look at that. I mean, I think you need to get to the bottom, the root cause. Why is there so many drug addicts in our society? Why? What's going on here that needs to be addressed? And I think our churches, communities of faith, everybody has to be involved. Nobody can sit back and say, oh, it's not my problem. It's all of our problems. We have to deal with it as a society. And I think, my undergraduate degree was in human development, and maybe that's the reason why I see things more globally than just insulated and saying, okay, you commit a crime, you're going to jail. I look at it a little differently. Because we don't want to waste talent in our society. We want the talent utilized. Because we all have a role to play. When God made all of us, we all have different fingerprints.
That's right.
Our DNA, everything's different. You're here for a reason.
You are here for a reason. And so that's so true. I think about I was going to be a paralegal at one point in my life. And I remember doing my internship at the county prosecutor's office, and I had to go down. I had to interview the inmates and talk to them. And I there was a guy in there who went to college with me, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?"
Yes.
And he made up this crazy story about I was at somebody's house, and it was kind of like I was like, "Yeah, I don't believe that," but people can easily get lost and caught up in things like that. Now, let me ask you this, because this is a biggie. The prison system is mostly privatized.
Yes.
Do you think that is one of the reasons why there are so many unnecessary reasons for people being put in jail to feed that business? Because that's a business.
Yeah, and I think we have to, once again, go back to our legislators. We don't need prisons for profit in this country. It's not needed, and we shouldn't be doing it. There was a write-up a couple months ago about a juvenile judge that was sending juveniles to a prison and getting kickbacks. I mean, do we really want to set that type of system up? We need to destroy that. That needs to be done. Our legislators have to look at how we handle things. I know that privatization is something that, a lot of different people think is good, but I don't believe that that's a good system. I think it's just set up to say, okay, how are we going to get people into the prison system as opposed to keeping them out? And something recently I came across had to do with whether our children are even prepared for kindergarten. Then if they're not reading at the 3rd grade level, that's how they determine how many prisons are going to be made. That needs to be destroyed too.
That is terrible.
It's horrible.
That is absolutely
It's horrible. So we need to, of course, read to our children. We need to emphasize their education and their well-being so that they don't become statistics.
Wow, that's terrible. I interviewed candidate Derek Wilson on the show, and Derek, one of his platforms is early childhood education. He told me a stat about, starting out at 3 years old that I had no clue about.
Yes.
And so just to be able to bring education to a kid, you think you're doing a good thing, because you're teaching the ABCs, and he's saying there is no early childhood education in place. So that stuff starts at 3 years old.
Exactly.
So by 3rd grade, if they have not gotten that early child, they're already set up for failure.
Exactly. 0 to 5. Recently in Gwinnett, there was the State of the Child Summit, and they said that from 0 to 5, 52% of our children are not even ready for kindergarten.
Wow.
We have a lot of work to do.
Yes.
And I say we, and I mean that.
That's right.
We have a lot of work to do. Every person has to take responsibility, volunteer for agencies, get out there, get involved. No one has the ability or the comfort level. You don't have the right just to sit back and not to make a difference. We all have to be the difference. We all have to do it.
That's right. We all have to be the difference. And I got a question for you. This is totally. So what was the hardest case you ever tried?
I've tried so many, it's kind of hard to pick out the hardest. I've done domestic cases. I've done discrimination cases. But I think the case that really touched me the most had to do with a child that was hit by a beverage company van. And that child, it was a strange scenario because after she was hit by the beverage truck, they found out that she had a heart ailment. The beverage truck didn't cause it.
Right.
But when she went in for examination from that, they found it, and her life was saved. So we litigated that case. We didn't have to go to trial on it because the beverage company did resolve it, and her family was able to get redress from that case. I think some of the others I've had has to do with, I've done at least 7 to 8 jury trials. Because jury trials are pretty difficult to get for attorneys. Then I think the jury trial I was involved in the solicitor's office of DeKalb County, I was a defense attorney, and I did ask the prosecutor, I said, this is not the one you want to try. And I guess she was a new prosecutor. She had a family sitting out in the audience getting ready to observe her. And I felt kind of bad because I knew she was going to lose it. So we tried that case, and she did lose, and it wasn't very gracious. But I think as attorneys, one thing that we have to do is learn more civility toward one another. And that's another thing that I will emphasize in the district attorney's office. Because the way that I was trained at Emory, you have to be civil. You have to be respectful. And I think some of that has gone away because I've even heard comments. I'm right now working with the solicitor's office of Gwinnett County. And I've heard of attorneys coming up to our prosecutors and saying things like, I've heard that you're not that good. Things of that nature. It's like, where is this coming from? We have to be civil. We have to be professional. We have to do our job. And that's one of the things I'm going to emphasize is professionalism in the DA's office.
I think that people feel like right now, if he can say it, I can say it.
Well, I think some of that's coming from our top.
It's coming from the very top. When you think about the very top and what the very top says, everybody feel like now I got this spine that I didn't have before because if he can do it, I can do it.
Exactly.
And he can say it, I can say it. So that. Unfortunately, that's where we are.
Yes.
But like you said, we need to get back to being professional because the world is looking at us all kinds of ways.
Yes,
this show is syndicated in over 100 countries.
Wow.
And I know people listen because I see my stats. So they listen to the show.
Yes.
And they hear what I'm saying. And I'm always talking about how great Gwinnett is, but there's always room for improvement. And I don't care where we are.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I'm looking at because we are the most diverse county right now in the Southeast. And we need to work on it and be the model.
Right.
Be the model for the most diverse county in the Southeast. And let's get this done right.
That's a great. We're gonna listen, Gwinnetians. We're gonna be the model for the world.
Yes,
that's what Patsy's putting it out there, and I'm seconding that motion.
Thank you.
So listen, I got one last question for you guys. So I'm looking at Chief over there. So it's like a tag team, y'all. So Chief is sitting here. So how did you guys meet?
Oh my goodness, that is it's very interesting because he and I met. I had already been practicing law for about 10 years, and I had an intern who happened to be Brian Whiteside, who is now presently both of our boss.
Wow.
He's the boss over both of us at this point. And Brian was interning with me, and he said, there's this guy that wants your phone number. I don't want to give it to him because I don't want him messing up anything for me. So anyway, I told him, I said, well, I'm a grown woman, and you can give him my number. And the rest is history. We met, and we courted for about 6 months, and then we got married. So it's coming up on 22 years now.
Look at God. 6 months, and they're still married. That is wonderful. It took me 3 years to get married. After 3 engagements.
hey, you know, when you get a certain age, you know what you want. So
Yeah.
why waste the time?
There you go. I have friends right now that are still trying to find that one. You know, it's so. I had 3 engagement rings. I was like, okay, I'm on my 3rd one. I need to say yes. 3 strikes, you're out.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. My husband just was a good guy. So
Yes.
and it's been a minute now, so I'm happy with that. So listen, how can people find out more about you and how they can support you and vote for you?
All right, just go to Patsy, Patsy, the number 4, DA.com. I have some information in there regarding my platform, and there's also a donate button. So I would appreciate if you can send, you know, $25, $50, $10, whatever. Press that donate button so that I can win this election. I'm asking for your help. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your input. And that's another thing that I will listen to what the citizens have to say.
And let me just say this, guys. You don't have to live in Gwinnett County. You don't even have to live in the state of Georgia to donate. Listen to what Patty had said earlier. She said one of her things is making sure that people are not just going to jail just to be going to jail for, you know, things that they don't have to. You may have a loved one that's in jail right now, serving time, and you know they shouldn't be in jail. If we could become the model state, I'm not going to say the county, the model state for not having our young men or young women go to prison for things that could just be a misdemeanor, why not do that? So she's not just working. It sounds like she's working for Gwinnett, but she's working for the United States, because if she could do it here, it could be done anywhere. So support her so she can make this happen here, and then you could take it back to your town, your city, your county, and say, listen, we know this woman named Patsy over in Gwinnett County. This is what she's done. We need to look at what she's doing, and let's do it here. All right, so support her. Tell them again how to reach you.
That's Patsy, Patsy, the number 4, DADogapple.com.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being my guest today. Listen, guys, that's all I got for you today, but I'll be back again on Monday, God willing, to bring you more of the rundown about what's going on in and around Gwinnett County. So until next time, be safe this weekend, and until next time, make it a great day. Bye now.
You've been listening to Good Morning Gwinnett. Make sure to tune in daily at 9 a.m. Eastern Time to find out what's happening around Gwinnett. If you missed an episode, go to www.goodmorninggwinnett.com to catch up. If you like this episode, go ahead and subscribe to the show now and share it with your friends.